All right, welcome everybody to another blockchaingaming.com live stream. We're doing Gods Unchained today, as you can see. I'm getting kind of high level now, so and it's really been a popular game. The marketplace has done huge numbers since the day opened. The Genesis set sold out, so we figured we'd do a little, fun little gameplay feature. Our little hack space here, Decontrol, has been kind of purged of a lot of the stuff, so we're rehooking up equipment, and I thought it was a good time to do a live stream. Yeah, my friend, someone off camera. We got another Alex off camera.
Yeah, backup Alex.
Backup Alex in case something happens to me. And that what you see, I guess you just did that. That is our sidewalk. So, you guys are getting my view here of what we can see while we're playing, because the game client does not work well with OBS. So I didn't want to switch to streaming software for just this. I thought it'd be fun to kind of show off the sidewalk, which you can control. Kids, are the sidewalk controls public right now?
Yeah. If you go to decontrol.ca, you click and hold the top right corner, you'll see the sidewalk controls. So if you want, you can even write a message or something on it.
Yeah, so if anyone's watching, go dctrl.ca and you can leave a message on our sidewalk. So I'm going to probably have just run through a few different decks today. I've got about probably 4 that I'm going to show off, maybe 1 to 2 games each. Talk about some of the differences between this game and mainly Hearthstone, which is the game that's probably the other card game that's most well known online, has the biggest base, the biggest tournaments. So these guys are kind of trying to be a competitor to them. There's a lot of similarities, but there's some pretty big differences. So yeah, I'm going to show off maybe about 4 or 5 decks. A couple games each, we'll see how it goes. We're going to start with the one I know the best, a really quick deck. It's Soulburn Death. So the one big difference, I guess, in this game than Hearthstone is each of the heroes has 4 abilities. Also, the problem with having a cool sidewalk is when people walk over it, because that goes up to the street. When people walk over it, you can hear them really well.
You can also adjust the light here too if you want less glare.
I'm getting dings.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's a lot better. Just a little bit of light. You're not too dark.
Yeah. I'm getting comments that the weirdness you're seeing is on purpose. There's 2 webcams pointed at each other. Yeah, and that's just so when the game starts, it'll look a lot better. Don't worry. Yeah, this was an aesthetic choice for the new setup to make sure we get to show off the sidewalk. Yeah, so we're going to start with the Soulburn deck. So each of the gods has 4 powers to choose from. So as soon as you load into a game, you're not going to know what your opponent has chosen yet. And you both kind of have to choose your god power blind. So Nature versus me, Death. I'm going to choose Soulburn. So there's 4 to choose from, though. They all play very differently. And they were willing to make... They were willing to do things like this. This says a lot about the game, that this ability is give a friendly creature soulless, then destroy it. Summon a creature from your void with a mana cost of X plus 1 or less. X is equal to the cost of the destroyed creature. So they put some complex abilities in this game that they were willing to do. So there's a lot of stuff like that, a lot of really powerful interactive abilities that kind of do a lot, and you can do a lot with. So I'm not going to keep my weapon break thing because it's turn 1. There's a card cycle. I'll draw into that. Both these 1-drops. Right away, you might notice that these are like 2/2s for 1 mana with an ability. And that's feels really powerful. And it, for me, for a long time, it felt really powerful too, because it's just because it feels like so much value for 1 cost. So when they were valuing how strong cards are in this game. They definitely valued the card above the mana cost a lot higher than in Hearthstone. So in Hearthstone, things are,
So only trading of the cards is on chain, all the game mechanics.
Yeah, the game mechanics are. I'm not sure.
What about the point values and stuff?
So this is just once you own a card and it's with your address, you sign a transact, or you sign a message at the beginning of the game with each other.
Yeah.
And when you sign the message, you confirm each other's decks or whatever, and then you play. And then the result is public. I'm not sure. I know they have an API where you can publicly read everything that's happened. So every game is public, the results and the decks that were used, which is interesting, but I'm not sure if that runs on its own separate chain or anything. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it's just the concept of the ownership.
So the 2 and the 2 on that card you just placed, is that on chain as well, or is that just in game?
Technically, the way the card renders would be done all by the game client.
Okay.
So this card is known to be that as an ERC 721 token. It's a Skyweaver, whatever.
But none of the stats are on chain, so like they could be different for every game.
Yeah, I would. It's kind of. I think it's that scenario. I'm not sure how much they embed in it. Technically, it would be like very wasteful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they did take a lot of steps to make it cheaper to deal with the cards.
Yeah.
So like in the beginning, they weren't even tradable. And you had to like activate them.
Well, this game gets up to like massive scale, so you don't want all these reads coming from the chain to be like every game, or like you want them to be infrequent.
Yeah, so I know there is a public API right now that you can read that from, and there's a couple community sites that are very useful. I guess the big thing is like you can see other people's decks, so you can kind of see what the top players are doing and just like mimic that with the cards you have, or make small changes where needed. I am kind of losing here. So generally, like the deck I have is for like tries to go really fast, and I got a couple higher cost cards right now. 4 is not usually a higher cost card, but in my deck it is, and I kind of try to burn him down. And he's kind of got a bit of board control, so I got to how to deal with these guys over here. The hero power I chose gives them burn, so that means at the end of his every turn he'll take 2 damage. It gives them burn and hurts both of us, right? So when this number goes to 0, our health, he's got 28, I got 21, that's game over. This guy can live a little bit if he attacks him. So a lot of the cards, like pretty much every card has an ability, as opposed to like, there's not that many cards that are just like a creature you put down on the board. Pretty much everything comes with something. Yeah. Whereas in Hearthstone, I remember there was a lot less of that. Although I know over the years they kept that game going, so I haven't played Hearthstone in a couple years. I was pretty hard into it. But one of the things that was always a turnoff is...
probably a suitcase.
Yeah, it was a suitcase. One of the things in Hearthstone that was always kind of a turnoff was, you know, like they still sold you packs. But, you know, when you got doubles, you could just quote-unquote disenchant them and then use them to like forge into new cards. So with Hearthstone, it was like to get like there was just like a cost limit to get in, and there was a new set like a couple times a year. There was no way to really there was a way to acquire without buying, but it was just like the daily grind, and you'd never, you know, you're not going to get all the legendaries that way. Yeah, so like there's a little guy, but like for 2 mana you get a 2/1 with Frontline. Frontline being the ability that makes you get attacked first, and then when it dies it summons another 1/1 with Frontline. So like for 2 mana you can do a lot, but at the same time the really high cost cards, which maybe when I use different decks you might see some of those, the really high cost cards do a lot. So like if you unlock all of your mana up to 9, which takes to like turn 16, if you do that and play like a 9-cost card, often it's like directly game ending.
Just got wiped out, huh?
Yeah. And then this guy over here that he played gave his guys regen. So at the end of every turn they're getting a bit of life back, and I'm not killing them fast enough.
Should mention this show is unofficially sponsored by My Crypto because I got one of their shirts at DevCon.
Yeah, thank you, my crypto. Yeah, Taylor's awesome.
Yeah, Taylor.
Shout out. Yeah, and bought Nintendo 64 for a shirt I've had for, actually I realized, over 20 years.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
How long you got
quality.
this from Mario hat?
Mario hat, like 2 years, but I just started wearing it. My friend gave it to me a little while ago. I'm going to try and get a couple bodies on the board. Yo, Andrew, how's it going? Yeah.
Okay. Then not be on the stream. Bye.
All right.
Alright, see you later.
Yeah, so we're in a bit of a public space right now.
Yeah.
It's not the
I
normal
don't think he
setup.
was wearing one of these pens.
Oh, yeah, the no cap. Oh, that's appropriate.
yeah. Hold it a little closer to the
Yeah,
camera.
if I put this on, well, you're on this one right now. If I put this on, cameras stop working on me.
Yeah.
It's just how it works.
Legal obligation, I think.
Okay, I should pay a little more attention. I'm making my opponent wait every now and then. It's not being
Well,
nice
is
guy.
that going to make it better? I'm just going to be more pissed off.
Oh no, I'm actually going to die like right now. If so this creature, the spinning little thing on its head, that's confused. It has a 50% chance to attack the wrong target. If it doesn't attack the wrong target, I die. If it does, oh, it did. So I'm just going to die. So it's okay.
Yeah.
The reason I like, at least these days, a really fast deck is because on the weekend events, you're rewarded for number of wins. And that's probably one of my only problems with, I guess that's one of my two problems with what they've done. Like, they've done pretty much everything perfectly. They got a good player base going. They got a really good economy going. And there's a lot of people like holding a lot of value and paying way more than initial sell price.
So would you say they've achieved like a critical mass of viability?
Maybe soon. Right now, I think there are two issues, or maybe the one issue being the weekend event, which is not a real issue with the game. That's just how they're doing their current event structure. That doesn't matter. The number of wins being rewarded, I think, kind of just forces me with someone with limited time to jump into really fast decks and just like win or lose as long as the game's over in 10 minutes.
Yeah. So is it possible to play more than one game at once?
On the same account, yeah. I think you might even need two computers.
Yeah, but so you deposit your cards into this, or like can you?
No. So right now, the other thing I think they're doing wrong, I guess it ties into that, is there's no cards for sale right now except from other players. And unfortunately, the game client wouldn't load into OBS streaming software properly, so that's why I did the fun double webcam setup. I don't really want to do this, although it is kind of funny. I could show you guys the game. So there's a market where you can sell stuff. Yeah. So there's a market. You can buy cards from other players that were previously opened in packs, but you can't buy new packs. So the only way to get the new packs is to grind just matches. And you gain experience for playing, and enough every now and then you get a pack, and you get them pretty quickly if you play a lot. Like I'm up like 1 per level or 2 per level, depending like milestone levels. So like I'm at a level 150 or whatever, so I've opened like a crap ton. I got a collection going, but at the same time, like there's no way for players to come in right now and really be like, I'm gonna buy packs till I get all the cards. Or like when you come in, you get a really strong starter deck, and it takes a while till you have more cards, like to build a stronger deck than the one they give you to just test. So it feels like you can kind of get stuck for a while just playing, just kind of playing the same decks and not being able to build your own, and you can't even buy your way out of that. And just as a card game, I feel like you want to buy packs and open them. You don't want to. You don't just want to trade other players.
Yeah.
You want to buy packs. It's like part of the
fun.
It's
yeah.
part of the thing, right?
Yeah,
it's like part of the stereotype is we want to open packs.
Yeah, like when I had Pokemon cards as a kid, it was more about collecting the cards than it was about playing with them.
Yeah, there's a certain age range where it's like if it's fun to play with them. There's a certain one where it's like no. It's like I want my set.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually the collector value they added in this game was really smart. So they added, because one of the things games do wrong, at least in the early blockchain games, was like they give you more powerful stuff if you pay more, and they like doesn't scale well to like new players coming in.
Yep.
Just live, so you know. It doesn't scale well to new players coming in. So like what they did is like the concept of like a shiny border card.
Yeah.
So like there's like 4 or 5 versions of each card, but they're all the same. But like if you have doubles and 5 of a kind, you can combine them for the next version, and they just like look cooler. But like going up to and you have a chance to get them in packs too. Like so you get opening packs. I got a couple of the diamond, which is the biggest one, and like I just like listed it on the market for a couple ether, like as like because I didn't really care if it sold, and it did, right? So I got like a nice little chunk of ether to like mess around with in the market with, right? Yeah. So they managed to like make a collectible that people want, and people are willing to pay for like these digital cards. Like, and if you look at the previous sells, there is a lot. Like,
so one thing that I know happens with Magic the Gathering cards, and maybe even with Hearthstone, is when new packs come out, people just bulk buy them and then sell the best cards individually.
Yeah, that would in this game when the cards are for sale so far, they haven't been tradable. The reason being they're still balanceable. So basically because they're still changing what the card can do in a lot of cases, making sure it's fair, and because once they lock the cards for balancing, then they open up trading for the cards. And when they do that, they can basically say like your card will never be changed. And the problem with that being like nerfs, like you can't in Hearthstone if something's too powerful, they can just change it. Yeah. In this game, they can't do that, so it's more akin to Magic the Gathering in that sense.
Yeah. So they're monitoring the data and trying to see who's. Like if people are found any bugs in it, like
or just OP combos, like they just wreck the game. So there's like I said though, there's really powerful stuff. So like if you get a turn 9 card out, it's often like I win, unless they can do something about it right now.
Pretty skill balanced.
Yeah, so like the scale seems like pretty fast sometimes. This one I'm playing is another like kind of quick deck. It's a war deck. So I've chosen the ability that gives me a relic or a weapon to just attack with. Or if I already have a weapon, it will just make my weapon last one more turn. It's also based around fast. So most of the decks I've played the most, and it makes sense, are the quicker ones. So like you get a lot of like 5 to 10 minute games. And like, you get a couple legendaries if you play enough over the weekend. And like, it's kind of like, that's probably 1 in 30 or 40 packs. So you don't get many of those. And they'll give you like 2 or 3 if you play enough. So I'm going to use this, which kills my own guy and brings another guy out of my deck and gives him a buff. And we'll not be able to play this turn. And unfortunately, this is kind of a waste because it gets a buff if there's more creatures on the board. But generally, you just want to put a body down.
Let's not be.
So when I played Death, I chose a different ability. This is the Blood Ritual. So basically, he can give something +1 attack, -1 health, and leech until the end of the turn. And leech is just like your basic life drain.
Yeah.
Like I did 3 damage, I gained 3 life. Like real straightforward.
His side of the board looks a lot nicer than yours.
I have that, but I've never been too much about the aesthetics when I play these games. I'm about mechanics personally.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like about the game. But I do have that one. I think that's the cool one. And then there's something else like this dragon thing at the corner. He has. I have one of those too. Maybe that is kind of cool. I should put that up.
Cool little pet dragon.
Yeah, cool little pet dragon. So this pulls a relic from my deck to my hand. I only run 2 relics that are the same. So this one's like, I'll just like. The idea behind this deck is you play this card, and then you use your hero power every turn, which makes it so this like lasts 1 extra attack. So it never runs out.
Yeah.
So just like the whole game, you just every turn, it's just like I use my hero power, and then I hit you in the face for 4 damage. And the idea being like, what can he do about it? So I will start that process right now. Also, when I play it, it gives +1, and that's a quick like 10 damage. So, and then I got this in my hand waiting, so this gives me +4 to my next attack. So there's a couple cards like this, and basically the idea is once I get him low enough and he's not expecting it, I just like play a couple cards from my hand and just do a kill. Yeah, and I guess being like Hearthstone, like certain decks, like the way the meta changes, so certain decks will just work better on certain days. So like the other one I got pretty roasted, and certain matchups are better for different types. Oh, see, use that thing which kills my weapon. I have one of those in my hand too. So that's bad news for me.
At last.
The reason that extra sucks is because now I only have 1 more weapon and like 20 cards left in my deck, so the odds are I just won't get it. Mm-hmm. I just randomly added a couple creatures to my hand. This guy. So I can give this guy +1/+1 for his attack. So when I play him, I can buff him. But then like he can just use this ability and kill me, and he'll actually get 1 extra life back from it. So I'm like not going to do that. I'm going to play this guy that has basically like 1-time hit protection. Yeah. So then did you play any other card games like 1v1 style Magic or Hearthstone?
No, I battled with my Pokemon cards way back in the day, but that was about it. But yeah, it's just a numbers game. Like each card has a basic amount of numbers, and then you have like a health after that.
Yeah, and they all do, and all the numbers interact slightly differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's elements that like go against each other, like fire, water, ice, whatever.
Close enough. Yeah. So there's like
poisoning,
Yeah, there's like a 1-hit kill ability. There's like a you must attack me first ability.
Yeah. I just got always smoked by my buddy who had a Charizard because that shit did a lot of damage.
Yeah, you're just like, oh man.
He pulled the Charizard.
Yeah. It's like when you're a kid, you're like, there's no way. There's no way you pulled the Charizard, kid. Yeah, so it's getting a little. So because more mana's unlocking, like even though I'm kind of winning right now, it's not a super great maybe scenario for me. So I do have a buffed up guy too, but unfortunately it's the one that kills his weapon, and I don't know if he's running a weapon. One bad thing about having the open API, I could technically look up his deck from his previous games and basically see if he runs like a counter card, and if he doesn't, I'd know if this was a good move to play or not. So that's like one pretty big disadvantage around having that.
Well, it's only a matter of time before someone develops like
an overlay? Yeah, I was thinking that already. Like, yeah, there's going to be a nice overlay.
Maybe an overlay, maybe a separate program, but yeah. It's like, can you run your own version of the game, or you have to run the Hearthstone software?
I assume you have to run the, in this game, the Gods Unchained software.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But I know Hearthstone, I believe, has a couple people that have made overlay stuff. Because there's in that game, there's an arena mode, which is like, they kind of have they have a similar thing here, but like you basically get random cards to play with. And then, you know, if you're a noob, you don't know what card to pick. Even if you're good, you don't always know. But the game overlays the statistics for you. It's like, this is the best card. The win rate with the other cards you've chosen are better. They can just do all the calculations.
A smart move for them might be to develop like a plugin system so that like they can just lean into it. Like, people are going to do this anyway, so let's just make it easier for everyone.
They've been really good about that. So basically, that's kind of their modus operandi has been like, you know, like make sure it's open, like blockchain ethos, all that kind of stuff. Okay, I gotta do some math and see if I can kill him. So it's like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, I can kill him.
Nice.
So I play my weapon. This gives my a creature +3 and my weapon +3. This gives my weapon +4. And then as long as I'm not really bad at math, this adds up to 15. Sweet. That would have been a little bit embarrassing. Nice. Yeah, the general strategy is you leave those cards in your hand until you like just play them all at once.
Yeah.
Because if you knock him down too low, he's going to start playing this more defensive stuff, thinking you want to catch him off guard. Yeah, we'll go back to the sidewalk view for a minute.
Yeah. No one's changed it yet. I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure the...
Well, I mean, decontrol doesn't really spell that well. Like, it's like a D on your keyboard and then the control from your keyboard, .ca. And then, yeah, you hit the top right. The image of the unicorn, I think, or it'd be the bull. Top right. Just hold top right, and then it will show up with the sidewalk controls.
Yeah, it's not an easy task.
I mean, the hair salon got it up pretty good upstairs. Yeah, I like the rainbow. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, if the words went as slow as the rainbow's going right now, it would be a much better
Well, it's going to be upside down, I think, right? Like, yeah, hello is backwards.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The L's are backwards, but I'm sure you could mirror that image and then it would show up right.
I wonder if they've done the reset. So tomorrow the weekend event starts. Basically, it's like 72 hours, as many wins as you can get, and they reset the overall ratings. And they pay out the number of wins. Like there's a bunch of tiers, and then they pay out to the top 10 like peak rank. So whatever you peak to over the weekend, so people don't just like get to high and have to stop playing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they make a lot of really good decisions to make sure it's healthy gameplay.
Yep.
And then they just decided to reset the ranks to like a certain point every week, so people don't like super camp like throughout the week, right? Like I'm not going to play this week because I ended at like 1500 rating.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I've still never peaked into the top 10. I'm kind of disappointed.
Well, how's the matchmaking figured out?
It's pretty wide range, so you can end up like playing against some plebs, and you can end up like when you're kind of higher rated, but and during the week it can be a bit longer queue time. So I'll play one more with the war deck. Yeah, during the week, he's, one, right?
But, like, you should be able to post, like, I want to play a game, like, I'll battle anyone in this range to this range, and, like...
Oh, they don't actually, that's the one actual thing they're missing still, is selective matchmaking. Like, you can't play against your friends, but the constructed version over here is, like, no one uses that. So, like, everyone plays ranked constructed. It's just the mode where everyone is.
Yeah.
Right? So there's not enough player base to support, like, different modes enough that they're active enough.
As soon as you allow chosen matchmaking, like it's not random, that's where some people can farm.
Well, yeah, you don't get rewarded for that though. The idea for that is so you can do custom tournaments. Definitely there will I'm gonna find more players in Vancouver, and there will be a tournament in this place. Like official or not, there will be a tournament for sure. Yeah, there's no way I'm not getting that together.
Yeah, we'll have some cool LAN parties going too. We already got one Xbox. We'll get a couple other ones going, a couple of gaming PCs.
Yeah. We recently came into a bunch of half defunct computers. So those are getting slowly combined into less amount but working computers.
Yeah, and we'll throw some old mining GPUs in them, and then we'll have some gaming rigs.
All right, so here's gonna be a good example of how powerful a turn 1 can be. And because I get to play the extra mana worth. So this summons a 1/1 and a second card. So second body on the board that slowly dies, and when it dies, it'll be a 2/2. And then this card over here gets stronger if I have 2 creatures on the board. So like it's turn 1, my opponent hasn't even played yet. I have 3 things on the board and 4 damage total spread out. It's like it took me a while to get used to that part of this game where it's like there's really powerful stuff early game, but like both players have access to it, and it's actually manages to be pretty balanced. Considering, just considering like there's a lot of high chance for just too much powerful stuff to wreck a game.
Well, the first draw from your deck is like a huge part of the game.
Yeah, so you basically get like 3 to 4 cards, and you get to choose a couple to throw back if you want. So when you run a deck with all small stuff, you're almost guaranteed to get a pretty good starting hand. This is one of those things. This is the thing that draws the weapon from my deck. I always want to play it like right away because there's nothing worse than drawing your weapon as a card when you could have just pulled it straight out of your deck and got like 2 cards out of it.
Yeah, but does that take an action? Or?
Yeah, this is 1 mana. I only have 2. You can't really see the mana. It's behind the microphone.
For the wicked.
Yeah, I should move the YouTube chat over to the other screen. Let's see. I saw something in there. So
Finish your turn.
I'm gonna play this. Gives a bigger body on the board, and just hit him in the face. Yeah, right. It's like a lot of times you want to put a bit of damage down early. So I don't know if this will
Get the lead established early. Looks pretty good coming on the stream. Should find what the chat is, see what people would say.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, it's just Chelsea. We got Miss Gnu in the chat. Blockchain Gaming Pump. I had to hook up a pretty bad second screen. Okay, it's my turn again. So I have to do this before next turn, really, because I really want to make sure I can play my weapon on the turn I get it. I'm going to play the same big taunt creature as him. Oh, there it is. And this has a 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy. So I feel like it's almost worth it to throw it at him and just hope it goes to the other guy to prevent him from getting another attack, but I'm just going to hold on to it. So the egg hatched into a chicken. Yeah, YouTube's been changing their streaming offering a lot, like a few times actually recently. Like, yeah, you do streaming as well. This is Mr. Sturk, Alex Sturk from Block Talk. Height, yeah, in the house. So, like YouTube has actually like done a few changes, and they never really announce it or make it clear. So I'm kind of testing out a couple of their new things today, and that's some of the inspiration for this stream.
Last summer they dropped Hangout on. This past summer they dropped Hangouts on air.
Yeah, and we used to use that as well.
Yeah, because it worked really good, and there was some funky things about it, but then they decided to drop it altogether. But it was getting like progressively worse and worse, and then I think they just realized like, oh, we're spending a fuckload of money on a lot of money on this.
Demonetize, yeah, and it was a pretty big offering.
Yeah, like you're gonna let people like basically stream their conference calls to YouTube. So that's a lot of bandwidth. Like that's a pretty big server that you're basically offering up for free, and your solution to that, or your income from that, is basically if they have good content, you get ads. But there's so many people that were doing it that get like no views, and it's like, okay, why are we offering this?
Yeah, like good example is like this is like a pretty niche blockchain gaming. Even like is like just a niche industry. We're like a sub industry, right?
Yeah. Well,
So
as long as
like-
you have baller internet like we have here, like it should be pretty good stream.
Yeah, the quality's pretty good, and we're finally got some better mics and stuff. I still want to get us some lapels for this place. I think that's a worthy.
I got a wireless mic though. That's a step.
Yeah, if I had a longer extension on the webcam, I would show you guys around a little bit. We have a couple piles of hilarious electronics right now.
Yeah, we're getting close to being organized. This is a karaoke mic though, and apparently it's pretty good.
Oh, so he killed my weapon with this thing. It's terrible for me. See, the problem with some creatures with confused is when they go the wrong way, it really messes with your math. Of like, because it's like this guy's got 2 attack, 3 attack, and 1 attack, but this guy attacks a random dude, and that's no good. And I hate making the other guy draw a card. But I did put that in his deck. Yeah, so this is a good example of like when the weekend ranked mode was happening. I looked up decks that were like people that were running hot, and one of the top players had this, and I noticed it had like only small cost cards. I was like, all right, I can probably get like a bunch of wins out of this, and it was like, okay, it's pretty fun, right? But like, yeah, just the reward. I'm a grinder, so when I see like a reward like get 100 wins, I'm like, okay, so we're getting 100 wins this weekend. And I like have to like, yeah, I've done it like half the time. I don't do it every weekend just because.
Have you encountered any bots while playing this?
Yeah, I think there was a bit of bots in the earlier days. Right now, there's not much of a reward for grinding, so the cards aren't tradable. They will be. They will be tradable, and when
is there any limit on like how many games you can play, or it's just you can grind to get to the full XP?
So right now you can grind to get cards, but later they're adding a new thing, a new resource called Flux that will basically like you combine 2 of the same card and some Flux, and then you can sell it to another player. So when the market comes online for that, you'll still have to grind again more. So you're not just going to be like a flood in the market.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do a bunch of. I'm just going to hit him in the face a bunch, and break down his taunt with my face.
You're dusting this guy.
Yeah. So one of the big key things about playing a deck like this is like you want to keep board control. So whenever you can kill a creature by hitting him yourself, like I take the damage, but that's okay. Like I'll take the damage. Oh come on. Nah, he went the wrong way. So that was a super terrible trade for me. Like I lost a guy, his thing stayed alive. It just like doesn't get more mathematically worse than that. Like 1 for nothing. Yeah, no, another cool thing, they dedicated 10% of their pre-sale proceeds to a tournament prize pool. So there will be a $500,000 tournament. Like that's a guarantee.
Sounds alright.
And they haven't even started hyping that yet. They're still like, they just came out of beta, or they're still calling it beta, but it's much more like, you know, games get called beta for a long time.
Yeah.
Even when they're like full release. Like even Fortnite just came out of like early access or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like a globally dominated game.
Beta is like the ultimate like cop out of just like, yeah, we're still working on it, but at this point we need your help to find out where all the bugs are.
Yeah, so he has killed everything I had. So this guy's going to give someone +1/+1. Like I got kind of the option to make a 2/2 and a 2/2, or a 3/3 and a 1/1. There is a spell they have that deals 2 damage to everything. So you just sometimes it's better instead of like you leave some 2 small guys, but you want to put the other guy bigger because you know like what you're playing against, and you know that like they're probably holding this card.
Yeah.
At the same time, just every turn, a little bit of damage to the face. Yeah, so in this game too, like there's no real, it's not over till it's over. There's like a lot of comeback cards or like turnaround cards. Or like, so, yeah, if he plays he's going to play a couple cards and heal himself for 3 each. I still might be able to kill him right now.
Yeah, so healing the whole other aspect to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of healing cards too. So like, and there's a lot of like, the other deck I played, it was a lot of self-sacrificing.
What do you think the longest game you've had is?
Oh god, you can go over half an hour. Like if you drain both decks each, and I'm assuming you can like, there's a lot of decks that like can cycle cards back in. So like there's a couple cards where if you were both playing them, you could technically just like get in like a deadlock forever. I don't know how that would resolve. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I got him. Okay. 12, 13. I shouldn't have made him wait for me to do that. Bah, bah, bah.
I've seen in, what is it, Yu-Gi-Oh? There's that Exodia, the Destroyer.
Yeah, they got,
win.
yeah, we got some Exodias in this game. So what they did is they did a thing called Mythic cards.
Oh, okay.
So like they said there's gonna be 4 per year or something. So they auctioned one off for like 62,000 worth of ether or something.
Yeah.
Then someone got to open one in a pack,
Nice.
which was like 1 in a million.
Yeah.
So for the entire pre-sale, there was like a check when you opened a pack, like 1 in a million check, which was, to be fair, a little bit gas wasty. They didn't realize that at the time. They've gotten super good with their gas.
They're learning.
Over time, they've learned so fast. Like even in the beginning of their career in blockchain games, like they upgraded their old one really fast to accommodate like what they should have done. They figured it out right away.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did really good on that. But the Mythic card, I noticed in the game client, they clicked to an interview. The guy who won and who they interviewed, his name was Harry Balls.
Okay.
And I just so I pointed that out. The victor of the randomized number generator.
Well, I guess as soon as you know what deck has these like this mythic card in, like these close to like instant win, like okay, I'm not gonna play that.
Yeah, I don't think it's like instant win, but they're like pretty OP.
Yeah.
And I think some of them like affect the entire game, like not just you. So they affect both players.
Oh,
like it'll be
yeah.
like a card. Like, if you have this in your deck, you'll like have some sort of crazy type of game.
Yeah, I gotta take this.
Okay, I'm gonna switch it up to a more fun deck. We're gonna do Deception. So Deception has a lot of annoying stuff. A lot of like put cards back in your hand. I know, like put your opponent's card back in your hand, steal cards from your opponent's deck. I'm gonna leave 2 of these in. So this is much more of a curved out deck that kind of is like meant to go on longer. Let me search for a game. Yeah, so this is kind of like designed to be like more of a longer classic style card game where I'm like trying to play on curve all the way up to 9. I'm not sure if we classify it as control, bit of a control deck, but there's definitely like some aspects of that. The ability Memory Charm that I'm going to choose puts a creature to sleep at the end of the turn and gives it 2 strength. So you can either use that to lock down your opponent's creature for a while or like buff stuff up to suicide it. So like everything can kill something like bigger than it. So he's choosing its hero power. Oh, I wish I was paying attention to the names and see if this is the nature guy player that beat me earlier. Okay, so Mimicus is a fun card. At the end of my turn, it will transform into a creature in my opponent's hand, and it will do that every end of my turn. So I can use it to kind of keep track of what he has. If he's holding on to something big, I'll kind of know about it for later. And yeah, if he's holding something big, I'll know about it. And if he's holding something that like plays good for me, I can play it too. But I do have to play it before him. So if I'm holding it too long, and he plays his, that'll be like my last chance to play it. I'm going to play this guy's hidden for 1 turn, and I get a random spell. So this is a good example of Deception. Just play it, and I get a spell from his deck. So, yeah, that's expected. That is a win condition card for nature. Just basically gives +3/+3 and double attack, so it's 1 strike to... This is the guy that got me last time. This attacks a random creature, so just because my guy was hidden, it didn't matter. Because that attacks a random creature at the end of the turn he's summoned. What do I want to do? I will mug him, so this summons 3/1/1s. And attacks a target. I probably just go after the bigger guy, even though... So it's going to summon all 3, and then just they attack until it dies, or until all 3 of them die. So you can kind of use that to, if I killed one of the small guys, I would have had 2 left on the board, but I'd rather just get rid of the big thing. So there, I can expect that on turn 5, he's going to play this. So I should not let him have any Amazons alive on the board, because it gives all of them +2/+2. And as we can see, he's playing more Amazons right now. At the end of every turn, this summons another one of these guys. I don't really have a lot of ways to deal with things right now. Yeah, so I don't really have much I can do. Target creature goes to sleep, give it burn +3. That means at the end of each of his turn, it'll take 3 damage. And then it won't be able to attack next turn. But I'm assuming it will still summon the 1/1 at the end of the turn. And then he's going to play this on turn 5 and like really wreck me. Probably. Or he could play this, like either one. He'll probably play this first. Not liking the position I'm in. I got kind of a bigger stuff. So he'll probably play this turn. This is... yeah, the Amazon decks, if they curve out right, which if you just put a bunch of small Amazons in... I'm surprised he did that, actually. So he's playing it a little slower, so because I kind of know what's in his hand. Oh, he played a card that refreshes 5 mana gems, and he just... Yeah. This is going to be over for me. So what I was planning on doing is using this to steal a card from him. But I believe I am immediately going to die. That's disappointing. So you could say like, oh, he had so much powerful stuff, you know, like, or it was an OP combo. But the reality is, like, I've got 4 high cost cards in my hand, so like, and I didn't have options of what to play per turn, you know, and he had played pretty much everything he had. So if I had had a board clear, you know, like there's a card I could have had 1 turn away, just, you know, deals a bunch of damage to each creature. I'm actually not running in this deck, but if I'd gotten to that, I could have just wiped his board. Then he has nothing to replay. So there's a lot of, even though it sometimes seems like there's like powerful combos, and I have seen some complaining, like when you can drop a creature on turn 9 and then they're at full health and you can just like kill them as long as you click fast enough and know where to click. You know, that does kind of get disheartening at times. Alright, so I'm going to stick with this deck because it can get really fun when you get into the higher cost games. You know, yeah, no one likes getting beat early, but it just, yeah, if you run too high cost stuff, like, you have to have people out there punishing the greed. You know, maybe I'm just so okay with it because it's usually me. But you have to have people punishing the greed just to keep the metagame alive. Otherwise, everyone would everyone would be playing huge stuff. And the games would all go on for a long time. So it's a tricky balance, and I think they got it pretty good. Yeah, the queue times are usually pretty quick. I think they only let you play the same person twice in a row. They used to sometimes get stuck in loops, but I've always wanted games like this to have the option when the game's over to like enter a best of 3 with the player. Like as soon as it loses, like enter best of 3 ? And if you both hit yes, it just becomes a best of 3. Yeah, I think that's something that not a lot of games have tapped into. But it's still like I guess that only appeals to so many like tournament style players, or that like, you know. Yeah, it's nice to see. It's nice to play against the same person when you like, you know, have had a good game and you're like, yeah, I want redemption, or like, okay, I want to like make sure he doesn't get redemption. All right, let's see what I'm up against. Yeah, the other fun power with deception is you can just steal their god power. So if I'm like, so you could kind of look up what they're playing. Okay, this is the same guy twice in a row. You could look up what they're playing, and you could. Yeah, and you could kind of choose based on that. So that's like the one thing that's like a little bit weird to have available to players. So I don't need to look at what he's playing. I know what he has, and hopefully, hopefully I can survive his early barrage or keep his board kind of clear. So this is something I could use to kind of like, you know, fix a problem. Just return everybody to their hand. No turn 1 play. Yeah, I probably should have only kept one of these in my mulligan. So I have to get this guy out. I don't think Confused can hit Hidden. So creatures that are hidden, I don't think that's the case, but I'm not sure. Oh. How's it going?
I just like move my turn.
I got super destroyed that last game.
Oh.
The Amazon combo was too much for me.
The Amazon combo?
Yeah.
So what's the deal with like your character? Like, are there better characters, or is it just something that you improve over time? Or
No, it's just you just get to pick from the selection. So the one thing is it's like balance, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to be a balanced game. They can't give. There's got to be a distribution path for getting cards. There's got to be, and it's got to be like fair, but still like progressible.
Yeah.
So it's like a tricky position to be in. They have a big range of cards. Like the first set had 600-700 in it, I think, or at least 300 or 400. I'm not sure, but I think there's at least 600 or 700 cards now in existence. Then I'm gonna have to play. That was probably the wrong move because I just got a weapon. So even though I only did one, oh no, that was really dumb actually. So I did 1 damage to him, and then he's going to regen 1 life at the end of every turn. Mm-hmm. So I just basically got hit for free. Yeah, my general style is to kind of pick a deck and play with it for a few days, but you know, I thought I'd like go back through my historical stash, show off a couple different ones. Right, foot deformant. So at this point, I'm kind of hoping to take one of his spells and like be able to do something with it. Deal 2 damage. If you control an Amazon, deal 3 instead. I happen to not control an Amazon. Yeah, I haven't played this one in a while. Maybe I should not have chosen it. Seems to be pretty weak these days.
Not quite the best.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's been a little while since I played it. It was definitely really fun when I did, though, because like when you get into those longer games, you have a lot of like board control. So yeah, turn 5 is when he just like kills me. Yeah. Just gonna attack right into him. Yeah. Suicide is always the only way. Yeah, so again, like I had a bunch of options. I didn't have as many options as maybe I could have mulliganed better. Maybe I have too much big stuff in my deck, you know? And I'm kind of praying for that long, funky game, and this guy's out to punish me. He's like, listen, dude, if you can't handle a little barrage on turn 5, you know, do you really deserve to play your Demogorgon or whatever? Yeah, it's actually funny. The Demogorgon is the most powerful card for sure.
Yeah.
Like classic, maybe like overall. Because it's not a legendary, it's an epic, so you can use 2.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Legendaries, you can only get 1 copy in your deck. So the Demogorgon is a epic, and it's really good. And yeah, it's just funny. The Stranger Things hype is real.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's like one of the more well-rounded good cards that you can get.
It's OP. I got a problem with the Demogorgon, I'll be honest.
Should be linked up.
Oh, yeah,
We got wireless. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah, that was pretty reasonably priced. Like, there's a company that specializes in karaoke systems, so it's like, okay, that seems like the best one to go with. They got lapel mics too, like $40. Works on the same receiver.
Yeah, I was thinking we would get lapel mics for the space. A lot of time we do the blockchain gaming meetups. It's you know, we have like a guest and 2 hosts, so it ends up being you know, a little bit. Oh, we just finally there you go. I got a share.
More concurrent users.
Yeah, I think the share just happened finally on.
Yeah.
I sent another tweet a little while ago.
Yeah, I was looking for that earlier because it's actually hard to find blockchain gaming on YouTube. Like, there's a lot of other videos that outsearch it.
Yeah, well, I finally did some more tag stuff. So I'm going to bust into the mage deck now. It uses some bigger stuff. It's got a lot of maybe survivability for the early game. And the one kind of fun thing about this deck is depending on who I'm playing, I'll choose a different power. So like in the beginning of the game, I'd say everyone is basically like, okay, build a deck and pick a power, and you kind of build around it. And now as the game progresses, people are seeing like, okay, well, depending who I'm playing, you know, these cards kind of work in different situations. You know, for these 3, I'll choose this. For these 3, I'll choose this. So in this game, I'm playing light. So I'm going to choose the clear mind. And basically, it's like going to kind of push for a long game here. It lets me kind of dig through my deck really fast, and I kind of want all this stuff. So normally in a slower deck, you're never going to keep a 5-cost card, but like this is something I need to make sure I play on turn 5. And technically, I want this for turn 6, but with my hero power, I can dig through my deck really fast.
Good luck.
What do you have here?
All right, I'm coming up on my plumbing appointment, but I'll.
All right, check back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some serious sink work happening.
We're fixing everything, and the kitchen sink.
Yeah, we're literally fixing the kitchen sink along with everything else.
Let's see how.
All right, so you played bunch of buffed up guys, or one dude and buffed him. The reason this guy is extra little powerful, at 2/3 for 1 mana, is it heals me when he gets killed. So it was a turn 1 play again, just like I kind of showed earlier. Is like you can put a couple bodies down on turn 1. You can put a couple beefy things down. So I'm going to unlock mana, play this guy, which will let me reduce the cost of another card in my hand. So I'm going to reduce this. And what that will do is now this will give this guy an ability that when he dies, I will unlock one of my mana locks, which are down here in the corner. And that's all I can do. So he's just going to get hit and killed, unfortunately, by that little spider right there. Oh, he's just going to hit me in the face. Manitoad.
This looks promising.
So I kind of want to save my bag of tricks. It's very, like, at the end game with this deck, you can kind of use that to 1-turn kill them. So I'm going to kind of save that. I'm not worried about taking a few more damage next turn. So I'm just going to play my hero power, which gives my god protected and lets me kind of cycle through my deck. Like I'm going to choose, with an ability called Foresee, I can choose cards to put on the bottom of my deck. So since I have this in my hand, even though it's really good, I'm going to pop that to the bottom. This is kind of a good card for cycling through your deck. But it's pretty small, and it's probably not useful to me right now, so I'm just going to shove them both to the bottom. Yeah, probably attack into that. So he doesn't actually want to necessarily kill him because it'll just give me unlock my elixir faster. So I'm gonna have to kind of suicide into there. Oh, that is clever. So he is preventing me from suiciding because he knows that will be a nice unlocking of mana. I'm still not really worried. That was a great move, though. I approve. I approve. So this guy got 2 of them now, actually. So this guy will unlock a mana when he dies. And I really need to get this out. So this reduces the cost of all spells in my hand by 1 each time I use it, and I get to use it 3 times. It's the mage weapon of choice. I'm just going to do that again. So now both these guys have the same ability, Afterlife, Unlock, Mana Lock. So mage is kind of about getting to high mana early. So I'm playing weaker cards, like they're high cost for their strength, but they have a really strong long-term ability. I hadn't seen that one. At the start of your next turn. Wow, so this guy just can't... Wow, this guy's keeping me locked down really well. I'm going to be able to play a few things this turn, though, so I'm kind of wanting to get everything out because he's looking like he's keeping really good control here. So this will reduce the cost of a card in my hand by 2. So I can play it for free, and then I will use my bag of tricks to bring out a second Mana Toad, and I'm going to keep at least hitting this guy for 1, even if he's trying to stop me. I don't think he can do 15 damage this turn. So because of his little, control thing on me where he was keeping me locked down, he's kind of running out of options. He's got to kind of like act now. Or he probably can't kill me yet, and once I get control, he might be able to kill me right now. That is sad. 15? No, he can't. He's really close, though. So, although this looks dire, I believe I can get out of this. So first I will sacrifice this guy, who will come back to life because of this guy's afterlife ability, and it's the only creature I have that's died. I need to kill this to heal. So I will kill it with these 2 to unlock. And then this is a free kill. That will heal me for a little bit. That's really good for me. Now I will play the Runestorm. So I basically am really hoping he doesn't have another buff ability in his hand, because I'm only 2 damage away from his lethal. But I can use this to reduce the cost of everything. And then I can... Well, this is my last bag of tricks, so because I'm in such a desperate situation, I don't really want to risk this. So I can either heal or try and prevent the damage. So I think I'm going to try and prevent the damage. Probably to this guy, because he has one time he has protected. So I'd rather give this guy the thing so it doesn't waste all the damage, and I can still like hit something else for 3. Because whatever has that, it was going to die regardless. Whenever creatures heal, draw a card. Are you going to heal me? This is probably the person I played against who has the most, who's gotten the most value out of healing my units. That's not something I've experienced too much. So this deals random damage depending on how many runes I have in my hand. I really kind of need to play it. And I can also reduce these costs again with my relic, so I'll be able to basically play these 3 cards for free. But right now they're going to give me value by the more I have in my hand, the more random damage I deal. So I really need to basically like clear the board this turn. That was a very maybe decent spread, I guess. I will be able to clear it. Actually, not sure if I should let this guy live or kill him. But I'm gonna kill him to prevent him from possibly drawing cards next turn, and I'm gonna get another body on the board. So I've kind of stabilized. I got a big body on the board with 7/7. I've got a little bit of healing in my hand, and I've got a little dude. And I've still got 1 charge left on this ability. Unfortunately, I know that card. He switches health with me. So I've still got one left here, but
This looks
The
promising.
problem is, I know where my other one is, and it's right at the bottom of my deck. So now I got to kind of decide. That's a really good card for next turn, so I can choose to put these in the bottom of my deck, but they're both like appropriate timed cards that will, have a lot of board impact. So I'm just going to wait on that and play this guy out, which will unlock another mana lock. It's getting less relevant now. We're almost at the end. I do need to get to my my Avatar of Magic, which is the game-ending card. Basically, it's the one-turn kill card. I've still yet to successfully. I still yet to successfully do the one-turn kill, like from full life. I keep running out of time, or like just misplaying it a tiny bit. I guess there's no point in going for that. Yeah, so this creature that swaps health with another creature is one of Light's best ways of dealing with big stuff. So I really have to I have to heal or do something this turn, which I will. So as much as it's perform like a lot of big combos at the end, you need to basically have the free spells. So this is like the I guess the poverty version of the combo, where like you're not waiting till the end of the game, you're doing it a bit early, and instead of being like an instant kill combo, you get a lot of drawing, you get a lot of card draw out of it, which is great, which is all I need right now. So I'm going to put him out, sacrifice him, so I get a rune, and it kills the protected. Reduce the cost of everything. I'm tempted to use my hero power to get myself protected, but then I won't be able to use the Rune of Fire. I don't think I need to. Right now I will draw a card for free. I will bury this guy and Demogorgon next turn. So Demogorgon will save me and provide healing. Unfortunately I can't. I gotta heal. I just gotta heal up. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Running out of time.
I don't know what happened there. Oh, I saw that. I got confused. I was hitting too many buttons. I thought it was asking me to choose between the tracking bolt. Two options, but I'm about to pull two tracking bolts and waste my time. Too many cards at once. Yeah, they give you enough time, but there's a lot of complex stuff going on. So Demogorgon, the reason it's so powerful is it basically like freezes out the board, puts everyone to sleep. So like you can basically turn a game around really quick. You give yourself a whole turn to stabilize. So he had to spend this turn kind of. Oh, he got to clear one of my dudes. He got to take the health away from that guy.
This looks promising.
All right, and the odds are I just need to Demogorgon right now, and I can still get a Rune of Fire out of it. But I should maybe just kill everything if I can. Let's talk about killing everything next turn. I want to have more mana. So the other thing, Demogorgon will put everything to sleep. And it will deal 3 damage to a random sleeping creature at the end of the turn. And it has Leech, so any time it does damage, you gain that much life. So it's like a whole lot of stuff thrown into one. I'm surprised it wasn't made a legendary, but it made it in the epic category. Oh, he just quit, yeah. So like even though he had me for a while there, as soon as the Demogorgon comes out, people are running scared. Yeah, so there's a lot more to the mage deck, I think, with like you're like unlocking, trying to live, survivability is key. Oh, I got a pack. The OBS is not play nice with the game client. It plays kind of fine with the actual game, but not the host client. So I'm gonna check out. Let's see what other decks I have here, and maybe check out one more different type of hero. Haven't played any nature stuff in a while. So this I haven't played in a while. This is my holy deck. I believe it's for Summon Acolyte. So this is one example of a deck I mostly made myself, I believe. Where you kind of what you do is you adopt a deck from someone, you know, high on the ladder, and then you just kind of make changes to what you're comfortable with. Like a lot of times you'll have most of the same cards, and you still like, you know, you're not going to achieve the same level of success. You know, you got to find like combos that work for you, the situations, start being able to recognize situations when it's like best to wait. You know, like turn 6 against Deception, just don't fill up the board; they will kill you. Yeah, so we'll do maybe one more game with Light, kind of a board spammy Summon Acolyte ability. This is the, I believe, a direct port of the ability from Hearthstone, or it's just for a couple mana you summon a 2/2. Alright, so this is my Summon Acolyte deck. We're going to put this guy probably. I just took him out of all my decks recently, actually. So I maybe should look through this a little better. So the idea behind just all the 1-cost cards is if I know I'm dedicating 3 cost every turn to summoning a single creature, you know, like I want to be able to like curve that off and like use up all the remainder and kind of just keep the board full. Really, like, just never give them time to play anything.
Best of luck.
Bag of tricks. Okay, what's the funniest card you've heard of so far?
Oh, there's a couple. I think there's a few jokey ones.
Like what's that?
I don't-
Catch off guard, or you laugh out loud when you see it?
I can't think of any offhand, but I feel like there's a few. They put enough humor in. They got a good amount. Because sometimes the things go too far with it, you know.
The inflammable idiot. The Abyssal.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's pretty.
Did you see that before you asked?
No.
Okay, well that's probably one of the ones that's you know.
You got a bunch of them, huh? Some of the cannon fodder.
Yeah, literally, yeah. It's all good. He comes onto the field already burning.
It's like the pyro from Team Fortress.
Yeah, so this is another good example of like cards like he's got decent health and for his cost, but he has like a disadvantage. But if you were running the heal ability like he is, you could just kind of pick him off every turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my only option right here is to just keep flooding up the board with things. So yeah, if I haven't played this deck in a couple weeks, and the game does kind of evolve really fast. So like if I were to go to kind of like relook at this, I'd probably want to change out some stuff.
Yeah.
I've probably got new stuff since then that like is more useful. Yeah, like this guy right here in a cycling cards is one of the most important things because like as you can see, I technically already only have 1 card in my hand, right? And that's turn 3, and I played everything.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not going to have a lot of options of what I can do each turn. Like my decision-making ability is kind of gone.
Guides me.
So I can just do this. So it's just like my hero ability just summons a dude. I have to kill this guy. Just hit him in the face. In the face, yeah, just go face. If you're ever confused about what to do, you're like the strategic thing. You can never really go wrong. Just do some face, man.
Yeah, take his HP down.
Alright, so the combo I'm prepping now is this Odysseus guy. He summons 3 dudes, 1/1s. They all have 1 health. And this thing gives all creatures, mine and my opponents, anything with 2 or less, gains 4 health. 2 or less strength and attack. So it's like sometimes you use this by accident and buff your opponent's units. That's always a terrible thing. I can actually play it this turn in a very great way. So I'm going to take this guy from him and turn it into a 2/2 that I control. Now I have the only creatures that have under 2 life or health and strength. And then I can bag this out. So I was wanting to wait it to combo with the Odysseus next turn, but this kind of opportunity prevented itself. You know, giving everything +4 and like for pretty cheap kind of puts everything safe. Gives me a couple beefier bodies. Yeah, the Light's Levy that I played to take his creature is definitely really powerful. For 3 mana, you can take anything with 2 strength or less and basically destroy it without setting off its afterlife ability. which is probably like a really big part. So you don't set off the afterlife, so you can basically like some things you really want to get those creatures out of the game. It still does go to their void though, so they can still summon it back from their void. So it's, even though it says it transforms the creature, that's a little weird. Apparently that's intentional though. So he swapped health with me. He's got a kind of beefy body here. You know, I could, because I could basically fill up the board with this right now. He'd pick off 3 of them right away. So I'm not sure if I really want to, if it's the right time for that. There's a couple other cards in my deck that combo well with that. So it's just always back to hero power, play what you can. You know, and hit him in the face. So basically the reason for that is like I could have killed off his guy there. It might have been useful. This guy would have been at 1. I probably should have. But then I'm a little lower on life, and I kind of want this guy to live as long as possible. I think no, I did not miss an attack. Yeah, so that guy, that little blue glowing was ward, 1-time protection for magical abilities. So yeah, now he gets a choice of which one to heal. Oh, that's the card I'm waiting for to combo with my Odysseus. I did not get it. At this point I must kill him. So it's going to be play 2, you know, you don't have to draw a cheap card, play an extra. I'm only wasting 1 mana. Sacrifice this guy, because he's going to die anyway when the burn runs out. You know, a lot of the times you think that like losing 1 health per turn is like super bad, but for the most part, creatures don't always last, you know, more than a few turns anyway. And by then you're sacrificing them into something. So if you can get the extra value, oh yeah. So he literally got the combo before me. It's kind of sad. So basically this harp, the relic he played, is going to heal 1 life to everything. He also wasted it a bit because it also would have summoned another one of these if he had room. So because I have no card draw and 21 cards on my deck, I run 2 of these, but I still haven't seen any of them. So that's just kind of, there's not much I can do. I really can't play it now because mine won't be healed. Mine will all have 1 health, and that means they will not live. So I can slowly start picking these guys off. I'm going to pick off the smaller ones so I take less damage. But throughout all this, he hasn't really been hurting, hit me in the face or whatever. Like he hasn't really been doing face damage, so it's just kind of a survivability game. And heal's great and all, but being able to summon a guy forever, you know, every turn is just like a constant pressure on the board, and it can be hard to deal with when you start running out of cards. Although I haven't played any, yeah, I don't know, you know, buffs are always nice. I haven't played any long drawn out games, heal versus acolyte, so I'm not sure how that plays out in like a stalemate situation. So he should just hit me in the face with everything right now, I think. He's tempted to waste his protected 1-time hit protection. Maybe he should have because it has 4 and I could have gone either way, but yeah, most of it was to face. And yeah, see, and he gets to heal up a little bit. So I might just have to go kind of, I guess, falls to the wall and just play everything I can at this point. No, I'm gonna keep saving it. I'm still at 20 health. He's ran out of his. See if I can slowly start getting this cleared off. When this guy dies, it'll summon one of his dead things for him, but right now he's got a lot of these guys in his graveyard. He'll have a lot of 1/1s that don't really do much. So sometimes this one can really stab you in the back for using it. Like you can end up, if you play it too early and they can kind of control or give like a 50-50 to like which creature comes back and like use the same ability twice or the same couple of same afterlife abilities, you can just like lose the game. So he did another health swap, so I know he's used both of those. Yeah, so he got a 1/1 back, just like I was saying. So he's got all these other stuff. It could have been a better thing. I'm glad he didn't get one of those. But like he ended up getting the worst thing back. I'm going to just have to play this for survivability. I think he might have enough to kill me. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so he has enough to kill me, so I have no choice but to play this immediately. And I believe that will fill up my board, so I won't even be able to... Yeah, I can't even play another guy anyway, so if I can get off a couple hits with this, it'll heal me for 4, but yeah, he, a very similar deck to me, clearly, a lot of the same cards, but running a different ability, and definitely making better use of it than I have. Yeah, I guess my main things these days, I guess I've been learning Mage, or I always call it Mage, we're learning Magic, and play a lot of Death Soulburn and Warrior Slayer for the weekend events. Just because, like I said a few times, it rewards it. Yeah, so this would have been nice. This would have broken his weapon, but didn't get the right time. So because yeah, so always suicide if you can. Never give him the joy of beating you. Yeah, so I guess that's about it. It's been about an hour stream. It's been fun. Just kind of testing out some of the reset up of the equipment here. I thought it'd be good to bring you this. It's a pretty popular game. It's probably the most successful blockchain game so far. I know people playing CryptoKitties is like, there's a lot less gameplay. This is more like a standard, like a traditional game that like integrated blockchain in a known way, but they did a elegant implementation. So yeah, we thought I'd just bring you guys some gameplay, you know, show off our new clean space, how beautiful it is. And yeah, we'll, coming next week, we believe we have the Ethermon guy in the house, fresh from Hong Kong. We're also doing, I believe, a privacy meetup out of the space early next week on the Monday. So that's early December 2019 for people watching in the future. So yeah, that'll come next Monday, early next week. Keep an eye out on our meetup page. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon. Please, if you got this far, hit the subscribe button and follow us on social media channels, Blockchain Gaming. Don't forget to check out blockchaingaming.com. I believe we're Blockchain Games on Twitter. All right, thanks everybody. Bye. Or bye. There you are.